Hello there, I'm MountPain27, and this is Dean of Doom, the show we give grades to classic and contemporary Doom wads. Why? Because ranking things is fun. Today's episode will be dedicated to Icarus Alien Vanguard. After TNT Evolution was acquired by id Software for publication in Final Doom, Icarus Alien Vanguard became Team TNT's debut megawad in the spring of 1996. Unusually for its time, there's a strong narrative underpinning to Icarus's 32 maps, manifesting in more coordinated visuals and stronger continuity than Evolution had. I've left a link below if you'd like to read the full story, but I highly recommend copying and pasting the text into a Word doc because it's, not easy on the eyes. This megawad is also notable for its entirely original score, composed by a team made up of Tom Mustaine, David Shaw, Jeremy Doyle, and Jonathan L. Bizri, all of whom turn in some of the best work of their careers. Icarus embraces Doom's science fiction roots, striking a balance between the forlorn horror of the Aliens franchise and Star Wars' sleekness and fun. Its maps are neatly divided into three categories: ship levels, which take place aboard the massive star cruiser Icarus, planet levels, set on the fictional beta Pictoris 3, and simulation levels, which we'll talk about when we reach map 5. Icarus Alien Vanguard is one of the most commonly requested Dean of Doom episodes, so I hope you all enjoy the show today. So here's how this works. Every map gets one grade for quality and one for difficulty. On the quality side, the grades go from A to F. Grade A levels are fun, memorable, visually distinctive, creative, and a fair challenge. Difficulty grades go from X to E. X for extreme, E for easy, A through D in between. Keep in mind, I probably won't have the same ideas about what makes a great level as you do, but that's okay. Disagreeing is part of the fun, after all. At the end of the day, this show is about spreading the joy of Doom, so let's do so. Before we start, the rules are we play on ultra violence and must pistol start each level. I need to play the wad twice before reviewing it. Saves are allowed, and we go for 100% kills in all levels, making exceptions when it's just not worth it. I play on Z-Doom with compatibility set to strict. Now, to the wad. Map 1, Shuttlecraft. What better way to start an episode than with a tale of redemption? Remember Habitat from TNT Evolution? Yeah, you know the one. Well, Shuttlecraft was made by the same guy, Christopher Buteau, and it more than makes up for his flunked Final Doom outing. Buteau is stingy with health, offering just 3 medikits, 3 stim packs, and a health bonus to help you patch up your gunshot wounds, but Shuttlecraft's real appeal lies in its bag of mapping tricks. Some highlights include this hovering cargo truck, the collapsing demonic chapel, this lights-out shootout on the Starship Bridge, and these clever sequences where lava drains out of the floor as you approach the key housings. Speaking of keys, one of Icarus Alien Vanguard's more memorable quirks is that all of its levels end in rooms that look like this and require red keys to exit. Shuttlecraft is puzzly and fairly strict for a 90s opener, but also snazzy, creative, and scored terrifically by David Shaw and Bobby Prince, kind of. Chris Buteau's mapping career ended almost as soon as it began. This was his second and final level for Team TNT. Grade A-, difficulty C-. Map 2, Shuttle Bay. Silver, silver everywhere. Shuttle Bay is the first of the ship levels, which sadly have the highest likelihood of getting jumbled together in your memory due to their monotonous texture choices. This impressive view of the ship's exterior is the only sight worth noting in Map 2. John Minadeo's monster lineup is also severely restricted. It's just imps, non-chain gunner zombies, and 2 pinkies. Unfortunately, you're stuck with a measly shotgun. Lame. Before we go any further, I do need to address another of Icarus's motifs. These blaze doors that open automatically when you get close to them, or in my case, open and then instantly slam shut in my face and my thumb instinctively hits the spacebar, are the worst. For 90s players, these doors were no doubt cool and convenient, but I don't like them. They cost me shotgun shells and make me look foolish. Grade C, difficulty D. Map 3, Quarry. No relation to Evolution Map 24, Quarry is nonetheless similarly brief and to the point. These maps are getting easier. These imps are all penned in, and if you get the jump on this chain gunner contingent, you've already cleared the worst of it. This secret ammo cache and this sequence of optional surprise encounters remind me of Wormhole. I wonder why. Jeremy Doyle's kick-ass MIDI is wasted here. You probably won't hear it loop more than once in a map as short as Quarry. Grade C+, difficulty D-. I do love these windmills. Map 4, Engineering. Engineering evades a bashing only because it's lovably gawky. Suffice to say, it didn't age very gracefully. With its vacant, paunchy layout, random clusters of barrels, and arbitrary crate placement, Engineering had to be the work of the same guy who made TNT Evolution Map 12, Crater. Climb into the ductwork to reach the red key. Hope you brought a machete for all this vegetation. Oop, never mind. You can just walk right through it. Since I'm not very smart, I delayed raiding this level-breaking secret until after I'd already killed everything. Engineering is the easiest and possible possibly most forgettable map in the Megawad. Grade C, difficulty E. Map 5, Flipside. You never know what you're going to get when you walk through a portal that says Begin Simulation. Flipside's dissociative visuals and wacky as hell MIDI boldly introduce Icarus's simulation maps, which, unconstrained by a need for thematic unity, are easily the Megawad's most experimental. I think the premise of the sim maps is sort of like Tron meets Star Trek's holodeck. I'd compare it to The Matrix, but that wasn't out yet. I'm not sure what Flipside is exactly. Its fractured amphitheater hub connects 3 distinctly unalike corridors. The blue key in the blue corridor unlocks the yellow key if you can solve a puzzle in the teleporter room. If you don't turn and jump for the switch at the right time, you'll just warp to another area and have to start over. Except for one wake-up call with 2 arachnotrons and a baron and a tight squeeze, this map is quite sedate. Flipside is an okay abstract mishmash. Grade C, difficulty D+. Map 6, Pet Rescue. Daisy? Pet Rescue is Icarus's first dud, a biting micro-map with 0 charm. It has only slightly more health recovery points than Monsters, the winning score being 56-40, not counting its single armor bonus. I took my first death in this room. I can never remember what opens these demon-faced doors, and I let a chain gunner beat me in a quick draw. That polyethylene terephthalate rescue doesn't keep you long is its only real positive. Grade D, difficulty C-. Map 7, Sickbay. Another mundane ship level with some dead simple shoehorned in. Sickbay takes a decent stab at realism but whiffs dramatically in the combat department. Finding this rocket stockpile negates any need for strategy, just don't blow yourself up and you'll blast through everything in no time. Well, except the arachnotron storage room, that's slow going no matter what you do. Sickbay's exit is really hidden for some reason. Press on this wall to lower another wall to open a switch that opens the exit. Most secrets aren't that much work. I will say the blood seeping out of this pinky room is a great detail, and I wish Tom Grieve had given the rest of his map the same amount of effort. Grade D+, difficulty D+. Map 8, Donnybrook. A scene of uproar and disorder, a heated argument, according to Oxford Languages. Not a very fitting title. Donnybrook is a slow burner set to a droning Tom Sustain Mustaine MIDI. This is one of Icarus's handsomer maps, but its protracted yellow key puzzle is a way of squandering your goodwill. I can't think of a faster way to alienate the player than by serving them a cocktail of snipers, switch hunting, and whoops, wrong teleporter. Newcomers can easily eat up half their playtime brute forcing through this sequence with trial and error. The worst part is when you know what you're doing, it ceases to be a puzzle, becoming a procedural time sink instead. It's a shame, because if you cut out the midsection, this map is relatively enjoyable. Grade D, difficulty C. Map 9, The Moat. Not sure why the Moat is listed as a simulation map. Nothing about its visuals really distinguish it from the Beta Pictoris planet maps. It's a damn sight more chipper than Donnybrook, especially at the start. Grab the blue and yellow keys in the central mound and use them to unlock the red key room, which is pitch black and full of switches. After deflating the Kako sentries, make sure you touch the bottom of the depression the red key sits in, or the door that lets you out of this room won't open. I learned that the hard way. Then, clear out the second of 2 forts straddling the Moat, and don't let the archvile get you on the way out. I almost forgot to mention, David J. Hill is the author of TNT Map 25, Baron's Den, which explains a lot. Grade C, difficulty C-. Map 10, Bridge. Now's your chance to get some R&R because Icarus's middle third is probably its most uneven. Shoot some pool, ping some pong, have a drink and some steroids in the mess hall, and bathe in the spoils of Bridge's secrets. They're numerous and easy to find. There are an outrageous 11 energy cell packs in this map, so find the plasma rifle, hold down the trigger, and rampage. This archvile's got the right idea hiding in the corner over here. Bridge is probably Ty Halderman at his most lighthearted. Grade B, difficulty D-. Map 11, Feeding Frenzy. Hope you brought an appetite because Feeding Frenzy is a lot to digest. This restaurant at the end of the universe is stuffed to capacity. Nearly 250 demons crowd its booths, lunch counters, kitchen, restrooms, and hellish underbelly. I enjoy this map to a point. Somewhere in the middle, after you've had a chuckle at all the adorable details, it becomes a dense, confusing hodgepodge of switches, satanic corruption, and chain gun fire. Some oddities worth pointing out. Taking damage from this crushing dishwasher seems inevitable when going for the SSG. There's an unofficial secret megasphere and a baron hidden in the oven, and all the keys count as secrets. I have to say, they're well hidden enough to deserve the label. This seems to be the only Greg Anderson map in the public record, which is a shame. Feeding Frenzy's action isn't stellar, but it's impressively intricate and space efficient for a vanilla map made in the 90s. Grade B-, difficulty B-. Map 12, Hydroponics. Oh, Gary, what were you thinking? Grit your teeth through one of the most pig-headed openings in the history of Doom mapping and try not to hold it against Mr. Gosson because the rest of his level isn't quite as gauche as its first impression. I learned a new word today. Hydroponics is the practice of growing plants without soil. These lovely cornucopic greenhouse textures give the map its name. Make sure to investigate the yellow key console as much as possible. There's a motherload of ammo and a megasphere to be had here if you pursue it all the way to the end. Stock up on cells and pry the plasma away from this awkwardly placed baron, and you can roar through the rest of the map without a thought to defense. I'm not sure whether to call the red key room surreal or stupid. Gaussen gives you another megasphere and locks you in with a disembodied space spider for 30 seconds. It's not much of a boss fight, if that was the intention. Hydroponics is one of the weakest ship maps. Grade D, difficulty C. Map 13, Asylum. Icarus's third simulation map has 90s experimentation written all over it. Indeed, Asylum seems designed to drive you a little mad with its drab, narrow hallways, prison bars, vaguely marked doors, discomfiting MIDI, and offbeat gameplay. Without a doubt, the Archvile Mancubus room with the rocket launcher is my favorite of the map, cleverly allowing the player to choose their own cover as long as they don't rush for the rocket launcher. It's a nice jolt of energy in an otherwise very difficult level to die in. You get a super shotgun, plasma rifle, and megasphere right from the start, which more than adequately prepares you for 10 to 15 minutes of corridor shooting. Ultimately, Asylum is boring more than anything, and it doesn't make much of its promising premise. Grade D+, difficulty D-. Map 14, Fortress of Evil. Robin Patnall authored one of my favorite maps in TNT Evolution, so it gives me no pleasure to call Fortress of Evil generic, copy-paste happy, and square. Its 4 outer walls are patrolled by 4 pairs of chain gunners, its 4 towers are guarded by 4 teams of this, and 4 secret teleporters let you access the 4 spider cages, which are filled with ammo you'll definitely want. When you first breach the gate, there'll be an ambush with 4 arachnotrons, which is harmless if you just do this, and the dungeon is just 4 identical cells, each with the same set of monsters. The middies in 4-4, of course, and by God, there are even 4 tables in this dining hall. I think you get the point. Everything about Fortress of Evil is repetitive, dull, and uninspired. How do you go from Steelworks to this? Grade F, difficulty C. Map 15, Waste Disposal. David Shaw's MIDI brings an air of excitement and mystery to this monochromatic maze of space sewage. Waste Disposal would suffer without its original soundtrack. It's frequently cramped, mostly empty, and not all that fun to get lost in. This is not a map I know my way around. Co-authors Simpson and Kennedy don't do the player any favors, tucking away the red key almost as snugly as a secret. Behind this door that looks like a wall is a teleporter which takes you right to it. The dunderhead Dean spent half his recording looking for the secret exit before punting and going to DoomWiki, only to find that it's in the same room as the red key. Take the odd side of this teleporter to reach a portal to map 31. Grade C+, difficulty D+. Map 31, Great Balls of Fire. Somebody took this map out of the oven too early. Great Balls of Fire puts the ick in Icarus. Even by 90s standards, it's a hunk of junk. Most of the map's 40 monsters live in this incredibly ugly cavern, a smattering of cacos, imps, pain elementals, and some arachnotrons, which are stuck together. The red key is just sitting here inexplicably at an intersection of 3 clashing textures. Don't linger in the poison, because this rock wall can only be lowered by a switch, and when it raises, you'll be locked out of the room below and die a slow, stupid death. This missing torch secret is this map's only saving grace because it renders all its threats irrelevant. Great Balls of Fire is charmless and incompetent. Grade F, difficulty D. Map 32, Prestidigitation. I take it back. This is Ty Halderman at his most lighthearted. Prestidigitation doesn't look like much at first, but prepare to be amazed. Halderman's got a deep hat full of mapping magic tricks, and the roguish charm of this Jeremy Doyle blues number is the perfect accompaniment. You might be tempted to waste all your rockets on this Caco Pinky Bonanza, but don't forget about the Archvile. He'll make your health disappear. Prestidigitation is cute, cheeky, and gimmicky, exactly as a super secret map ought to be. Grade B+, difficulty D+. Map 16, Boot Camp. This hard-nosed hit scanner hell will whip you into shape. Zombie men, shotgunners, and chain gunners comprise 80% of Boot Camp's nearly 200 foes, and Mike Marcotte does not feed them to you piecemeal. The backpack is invaluable here, and the rocket launcher will ease the pressure on your shell and plasma counts if you can find it. This library blackout is the most cuttable fight on the map. It's a joke if you know about these light amp goggles, but the Cyber Demon Gorge is no laughing matter. Unless you can find the secret BFG and know how to use it with confidence, rubbing out the Cyber can be a slow and hazardous process. Make sure to save something for the final obstacle. The starting room refills with hit scanners and arachnotrons and drops a pesky archvile down in the pit. Good luck, soldier. Boot Camp lives up to its name. This is punishing stuff. Grade B-, difficulty B. Map 17, Bloodbath. This satanic subterranea casts thick shadows and stows away some nasty surprises. Infused with menace by its Tom Mustaine MIDI, Bloodbath will get under your skin or remove it entirely. You'll want to grab the secret soul sphere at the start because the hardest fight in the map hits early. Grabbing the chain gun releases 2 revenants and an archvile right next to a fresh pile of corpses. Bad luck with this encounter can rapidly deplete your ammo. Barons are overrepresented in this map and you won't get any big guns till later or at all if you're not dragging the place for secrets. The BFG is well hidden and fairly dangerous to obtain. I really like this map as a survival horror experience, and its sinister vibe is quintessentially Team TNT. Grade B+, difficulty B-. Map 18, Cargo Bay. First things first, shoot this barrel and grab the plasma gun from behind this secret wall. You're gonna need it. Cargo Bay's simplistic layout belies the cunning combat scenario that lies in wait. The blue key at the far end of the room unlocks the way forward, but mind the gaps, because falling between shipping containers leaves you at the mercy of marauding revenants, barons, hell knights, and chain gunners. Stepping outside also invites an archvile and more big imps into the surrounding hallway, smoking you out of your safe zone. Picking up the blue key summons even more monsters, so plan accordingly. High enemy density, unsteady footing, antsy music, and claustrophobia is a panic-inducing combination, but patience and this BFG secret go a long way towards saving your bacon. The last room is nothing to worry about. You get a bundle of rockets to dispatch a few teleporting barons, and 2 invulnerabilities to ensure your safety while you whack the cyber demon. No stranger to crafting excellent Doom action, Andrew Dowswell also made Prison, one of my favorite maps in TNT Evolution. Grade B+, difficulty B. Map 19, Blessed Are the Quick. This mild church-themed map doesn't stick out much. I accidentally discovered that you can skip right to the red key if you jump over these yellow bars. You can't leave the level early, but this exploit does bag you an early SSG and lets you watch this big infight party at a safe distance if you wish. The Lonely Organ MIDI is a good fit for this map's quiet, peculiar tone. To tell you the truth, it doesn't seem terribly interested in killing you. The early plasma gun pretty much nullifies any major threats. The one potentially scary ambush in the map actually locks out the monsters, and the final fight, set in a chapel that looks more like a dirty bathroom with stained glass windows, is a cinch to mop up with the BFG it unceremoniously hands you. Grade C, difficulty C-. Map 20, War Temple, in which Rand Fairs takes us through the looking glass. I don't know whether to call War Temple impressive or lazy. The map's second half is just the first half upside down and backwards. As a non-mapper, I couldn't tell you how long it would take to adjust the sector heights and swap all the floor and ceiling textures in a map this size, in 1996 no less. The mirrored environments themselves are unhinged, to say the least. Some of these doors are actually elevators, or open other doors, or instantly raise you to the floor above. The progression is slow and obtuse, best illustrated by this lift with a decoration stuck in the middle of it that raises you to a pair of barons. Give me a break. At first, I thought you were just supposed to intuit that the blue and yellow key switches were buried in the floor, but after doing some research, I found out you're supposed to shoot the doors to raise the switches. Right. By this point, you should have enough plasma to quash the gated final area with minimal trouble. A tepid conclusion to one of Icarus's weirdest simulations. Grade D+, difficulty C. Map 21, Engine Core. This compact ship map scores points for brevity and detailing. I like the railings, lockers, and the reactor room with the archvile mini-boss. The secret megasphere gives you ample insurance to run around like a maniac and rock out to the MIDI. Don't headbang too hard. Ammo is a bit scarce and there are no berserk packs or chainsaws to fall back on. Engine Core is a fine start to Icarus's final act. Grade B-, difficulty D+. Map 22, Nightfall. What you're hearing in the background is actually a modified Bach composition, the art of Fugue Contrapunctus 8 to be exact. It's a perfect fit for Gary Gosson's eccentric style. We've got ourselves another doomed church, complete with a full congregation, an archvile minister preaching hellfire, and a graveyard full of specters and lost souls. How seasonal. And check this out. Each gravestone bears the name of a Team TNT member. Cute or morbid? You decide. Poor routing or a surplus of unholy resurrections can drain your ammo, so make sure to collect the non-secret supplies stashed in these pillars. There's a switch inside one of them that removes an invisible wall blocking the rocket launcher. Gosson must have been sampling the communion wine when he thought of that. Also, maybe it's my source port, but there's definitely something weird going on in the red key room. See how it flickers? What is that? Nightfall is Gosson's best work so far, but he's got a better one coming up. Grade B-, difficulty B-. Map 23, Painful Discharge. Might want to get that checked out. Icarus story writer Brian Kidby shows his playful side with Painful Discharge, turning lost souls into huggable light sources, and including a little Barrels of Fun reference I didn't get until just now. The twinkly music, abundant heavy weaponry, and lenient fights make this a comfy playthrough. You can embarrass the pain elementals by hopping into one of these cages, and the 2 archviles by the exit are locked up and totally harmless. The mix of corridors, open areas, lifts, window placements, and arbitrary secret tags suggest this map was designed to accommodate deathmatch as much as single player, but that's just a hunch. Grade B-, difficulty D. Map 24, The Haunting. This episode continues to be weirdly Halloween appropriate. I don't know if the Haunting is the most memorable map in Icarus Alien Vanguard, but it's certainly the creepiest. Supernatural forces have invaded the Icarus, and as you explore its dormant recreational spaces, prepare to be visited by, you guessed it, ghost monsters. Save your rockets and aim for the walls to kill them with splash damage. Regular attacks pass right through them. Take the time to plunder all the housing units and you should be flush with weaponry and power-ups. Team TNT continues to corner the market on Doom Cute. The dance hall, movie theater, and shooting range are primitive by today's standards, but they are still fun. Well, actually not the range. The targets are funky. Sometimes it says you missed for no reason even when you're perfectly lined up. 100%ers, that last monster you're looking for is out there in the stars. It wouldn't be a Gary Gosson map without another inexplicable space spider. Jokes aside, the Haunting is one of this Megawad's banner maps. Chilly, experimental, and eye-catching. Grade B+, difficulty C-. Map 25, another fine mess. Well, hardy har har. I feel like Michael Bristol is taunting me, placing the red key at the start and the exit teleporter right next to it, just out of reach. The gesture wouldn't be so frustrating if the map wasn't. Another fine mess is a meandering switch hunt with a lot of moving parts that don't do much. Your time is split between bloody caverns, hacking it with standard issue weaponry, and brown basements punching grunts. The spirit of adventure just isn't there. I don't know what it is, but sorry, all the dogs in my neighborhood just asked me if I could turn the music off. There we go. Much better. Most of these fights barely qualify as decent. The black room with the pinkies and lost souls is an uncomfortable squeeze. Picking off the revenants here is a pain in the neck, and you get one invulnerability per archvile at the end. One for free, and one up here. The cyber demon by the exit is Bristol's final insult. Nothing but a cheap heart rate accelerant if you ask me. Grade D, difficulty B. Map 26, Weapons Bay. Ah, Weapons Bay, I love ya. This map is a veritable piñata of supplies, containing 2 supercharges, 4 mega armors, over 600 cells, and doubles of nearly every weapon in the game. Don't feel like risking life and limb for this BFG? No problem, there's another one right here. Were it not for this last-minute cyber demon, Weapons Bay would be the latest E difficulty map I've seen in a Megawad. The most lethal thing in it is this hyperactive MIDI guitar solo. Grade B, difficulty D. Map 27, Starhinge. Starhinge. Even the name is weighted with portent. This eerie, slow burner is one of Ty Halderman's finest works. In my opinion, it's as worthy of imitation as Wormhole. Playing Starhinge feels like trespassing. It's forgotten, forbidden, and foreboding. I can't tell if this wooden structure is an underground temple of some sort or an archaeological excavation, but whoever was using it definitely ran afoul of aliens. I like how Halderman gets the heaviest action out of the way early. When the dust settles on the opening fight, silence seizes power, and clearing the map of enemies doesn't quell the feeling of being watched. I think back on Starhinge often. You need to experience it for yourself. Grade A, difficulty C-. Map 28, Excavations. While writing the script for this video, scrolling through DoomWiki, I discovered a Stephen Ferris quote on this map. I was constantly told by the others that there wasn't enough ammunition in the level, and against my wishes, my father eventually doubled the amount before release, to my cries of, "Screw 'em! Real men punch to death." I have no way of verifying this was actually said, but if it's true, there exists another timeline where we'd have been expected to handle 2 Barons of Hell, 11 Cacodemons, 6 Revenants, 22 Chain Gunners, and 13 Pain Elementals with 125 bullets, 72 shotgun shells, 1 BFG shot, and no Berserk pack. My napkin math tells me you'd be down to brass knuckles before you got to the meatballs, and I left 54 other monsters off this list. Thank God Mr. Ferris interfered, but this map is still off the charts hard compared to the rest of Icarus. The Blue Key Siege is an absolute battery of hit scan and pain elementals that would leave you for the vultures if not for this bucket of fried chicken. Screw you, Baron, the chicken is mine! After the Blue Key tries to blow you up, struggle to the exit, pray for enough shells to finish these revenants, grab the BFG, and leap into this obscenity to get the red key from a shack by a lake of lava. It is ludicrous. The highest compliment I can give this map is BPRD would have approved. Grade B-, difficulty A-. Map 29, Brutality. Downright kindly compared to Map 28, Brutality is an intense penultimate stage with polished visuals, especially at the start. Check out this fancy door. It's monster closets galore in the beginning, but Root compensates you with a king's ransom of shells and bullets. Don't expect that to last. Don't pass up the all-important Megasphere Plasma secret, and remember to refill your pack before teleporting to the rocky planet surface because there's no going back, and this Cyber Demon ammo sponge will punish poor planning. The final room is 4 Hell Knights, an elevator with a Mancubus and a bunch of lost souls, 3 Chain Gunners at the top, and a Cacodemon in the exit. May your aim be true, and your infighting fruitful. Grade B, difficulty B-. Map 30, Nucleus. I'm not sure how 3 people worked on this map. Nucleus is simple, unflashy, and almost disappointingly easy. All you have to do is leap into the arena, ride the lift up while grabbing some guns, jump back onto the ledge you came from, shoot the wall, and pump rockets into the target. Shouldn't take you more than 2 minutes. If I'm not mistaken, this is actually supposed to be a touching scene because Doom Guy is nuking the Icarus and has no obvious means of escape. Combine that sentiment with a painless application of the icon of sin and some pretty scenery, and it makes for a high note to go out on in 1996. Grade B-, difficulty D-. So, I wonder how history would have been different if Icarus Alien Vanguard had been the TNT Megawad id Software published with Final Doom. It's tempting to judge TNT's first 2 Megawads against each other, but the truth is, I don't think I'm capable of doing so impartially, Evolution being my childhood favorite and all. I can acknowledge that Icarus is the more stylistically consistent of the two, and it would have been a more fun-loving alternative to Plutonia's merciless grind. To steal a comparison from something I read on Doom World, Icarus is like a movie, and its maps like individual scenes. It's one of the best examples of world building in a Megawad I've seen from its era, and it definitely has flashes of cinema that still hold up today. Team TNT never ceases to amaze me with their versatility and creativity, and even though it did take me a while to come around to Icarus on account of its slow start, I'm ultimately glad to have it in my WAD library. My final grade for Icarus Alien Vanguard is a C+. Difficulty-wise, this is the easiest WAD I've covered in quite a while. I'll give it a D+, just a skosh meaner than Doom 2. Now for my Dean's List. Valedictorian, Map 27, Starhinge. Salutatorian, Map 1, Shuttlecraft. Class President, Map 28, Excavations, and the dunce cap goes to Map 31, Great Balls of Fire. Thank you very much for watching, and please feel free to share your thoughts on the WAD down below. I'd love to hear what you think, and I'll heart your comments to let you know I've read them. Now, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge my generous patrons. AR, Aaron Allen, Aaron Berger, Akalai, Alec Wehrman, Alexander Sumenkoff, Alex Topfer, Alex Max, Alpha Skeeter, Ari Adair, Builder Sith, Kappa Bitch, Captain Wave, Cheese Wheel, Chris Duthat, Chris O'Neill, Christopher Hart, Christophine Place, Crafty One Cal, Dan, Dave Davidson, Delirium, Dorothy Miller, Dumbo, Eggboy, Ember, Emma Essex, Felix Wilson, Fiendish, Furnace, Gabagool, General Roasterrock, Glenn Marmon, Griffin Upchurch, Gus Shade, Have a Seat, Holy Hell Revealed When, In Captivity, Jared C. Bly, Jeff Hibbert, Josh Ballard, Just Great 98, Camille Bernadotte, Killplane, Leon Staten, Logan Lazalda, Mark Rowland, Marky Music, Matthew Gower, Michael Akins, Michael Gutierrez, Mixer, MK2021, Moko Mothman MM47, Myolden, Neurometry, Nick Machado, Knights 108, Number 26, Orion Burke Poole, Painful Hill 72, Procrastination, Pyro She, Randy A, Reese, Roadworks, Rune, Sega Monkey, Sid Menon, Stonemason, Stupid Nick, Tarakushino, The Bell Tolls, TJG 1289, Trilby Trillion, Turbine 2K5, and Why BMO Not a Crab. Thank you. I appreciate you all very much. This is Mount Pain 27, and I'll see you in the next episode of Dean of Doom.